All right. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How are you all doing? Good to see you. Uh, sorry about the weird time change. It's been a little bit of a all over the place weekend. Have a lot of things going on, a lot of family things going on. So that's why I couldn't do the show yesterday. And today I'm just gonna do a brief, like little 30 minutes here. Just wanted to talk about a few things and just jump on and do a shorter show today. But tomorrow we'll be back at the regular time and the regular length of show. But hello, everybody. How you doing? And thanks for hanging out with me today. You could be hanging out with a whole bunch of other people. What's up, Rockfinners? How you doing? We're live on Rockfin. And you can watch the show for free on Rockfin. We're live on Callin. You can always watch my show for free or listen to my show on Callin for free. But a good way to support the show is buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews. Excuse me. Also Venmo, Cash App links, which directly support the show, support me and support the show. You can find those links in the description box, and also super chats greatly appreciated. Also Rockfin tips greatly appreciated. All right. Yeah, Grateful Dan. It's amazing how people's brains shut down when you mention civilizational collapse. Yes. Well, it's weird because I really don't think people can comprehend. People really have a normalcy bias, and I wouldn't even say it's a bias. It's more like, it's more like I don't know, like magical thinking or something. I don't know. It's not, normalcy bias just sounds like people, trend towards normalcy. So therefore we have a bias towards normalcy, towards things continuing to go on normally. And we do. But, the idea that you can't actually envision that the world might look differently than it looks now, I think is goes a little beyond bias and more strays towards something that you refuse to comprehend or see because it's emotionally upsetting, right? I'm trying to get more light on the screen. Okay, there we go. But somebody asked me about, I don't know. What I might be planning for or seeing in the next 5 or 10 years. And I'm like, your guess is as good as mine, but it's a good idea to, as Guy McPherson suggests, floss your teeth. It's a good idea to, try and, I guess, work for the better job or try and get yourself in a better position or, do things that you think might benefit yourself or your family. But it's also a good idea to understand that maybe things won't be. Or Chris Martenson talks about resiliency, right? And how that is capital, right? That's something that it's a good idea to work on, right? Because these other things that people generally tend to work for, like a 401k or a retirement fund or a nest egg or whatever it might be. Those things possibly could not even exist for you when you get there. So you might want to, another way to look at like planning for the future or getting yourself prepared, getting yourself into a position where you will be a little more comfortable might be getting yourself into a place where you're growing a lot of your own food, or storing a lot of your own food, or having food and water stores, or it sounds a lot like prepping, but yes, that's what it is. Or maybe moving yourself to an area of the country where you feel might be less impacted by economic or weather shocks, right? Drought, flood, fire, hurricanes, storm surge. Let's not talk about rising seas. Let's just talk about storm surge. Poppy Davis. Joplin, Missouri was destroyed by a tornado in 2011. Upwards of 200 died, and it's completely built back in normal. Yeah. And that's what we do. Absolutely, right? That's what we do. We build back better or something like that. But there will be circumstances where maybe that snap back to normalcy isn't available, where things fall apart and there's no getting it back. Nick Oliver on Collins says, over the next 10 years, learn to source your own water. Yeah, I mean, not a bad idea. Just looking at a couple of things going on during the day. Well, Poppy Davis sent me this. California Sierra Nevada snowpack eclipses 1982-83, the previous record holder. A result of 17 atmospheric rivers since December. Yeah, it's a lot of atmospheric rivers. I was hearing somebody, dismiss atmospheric rivers as, it's a new name for weather. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, it's kind of 3 times the snowpack, people dying because they're snowed in, massive floods, infrastructure being torn apart, the possibility of massive floods over the summer. That's not, it's not, it's nice if dismissing something fits your narrative like that. But the fact that people are being, pretty negatively impacted by this, it might be a good idea to go like, oh, maybe these 17 atmospheric rivers might actually hold some portent. Nice. Grateful Dan touring some national parks. Yeah, sounds good. The Grand Canyon and Zion National Park. I haven't been to Zion, but the Grand Canyon is pretty cool. I've been there a couple of times. I would like to go back. But yeah, California got thumped, and it looks like it's over for now. It looks like it's over for now. Thank God. But although as the weather does like to do, right? It looks like the snow thing is over, but next week I see in the forecast temperatures in the high 80s. That means 90s. If you live in Southern California or Los Angeles, if they are saying it's going to be 86, you absolutely know that it's pretty much going to feel like 90, 92, something like that. That's somewhere in like the 86, 88 range. It's just tack on 5 degrees to that. So from atmospheric rivers bringing us record snowpack, well, at least in Southern California, to next week tapping 90s. Okay. And so it begins. Oh, y'all went to the Redwoods, Poppy David. Yeah, the Redwoods. I love the Redwoods National Forest. I love that area up there. It's pretty great. The excuse me. The high temperatures continue to march on in the Far East. Sorry, I don't think I actually didn't save what I had on this, but they seem to the high temperatures are still going on. Excuse me. But we're also going to talk about Jesus. People have just people are being shot at Trader Joe's in Los Angeles. Jesus. There's a multiple people shot at Trader Joe's grocery in Los Angeles. At least one fatality. What the hell? Sorry, I was just looking at this story. I think I can tell which Trader Joe's they're talking about, but there's a lot of Trader Joe's in California. Yeah, Salt Lake. Allegedly, it took the shooter an hour to find a place to park. Yeah. Anyways, that's not what I was looking for. These are not the droids you're looking for. Sorry, I'm wasting time. I know I'm on a very limited time today. We're going to wrap up the show about noon, so just letting you guys know we're doing a kind of a short. So I better get it together. But the thing I wanted to talk about in the thumbnail, and we'll get to it. I'm going to do one more story here on climate change and what is happening with that. If it would only come up. But I don't think I covered the other day that orange crops are being affected by weather in Florida. Jesus, come on now. Come on. Here we go. Orange production is down 60.7% from the last season. One of the lowest figures since the 1930s. If you're come on. If you're paying attention, if you're paying attention to what is going on with how the weather extremes, severe weather, atmosphere, whatever you want to call it, hurricanes, atmospheric river, storm surge, high heat, drought, humidity, something that, some people like to dismiss because they're on one, trying to tell you that something isn't happening when it is happening. But this is, to go back to saying, it might be good to aren't you glad that climate change is a hoax, right? It might be good to have access to food, like food that is grown, right? We have neighborhood trees, we have citrus trees in our neighborhood, which is great. And these trees are full of fruit because nobody picks them. It's wild to me. But we will probably enter a time when people are like, Well, look at all the oranges on that tree. Let's go get them, or grapefruit, or whatever. It will be good to be able to grow your own food, or have a friendly relationship with people that do, or work together to grow some food, or barter. You grow some of this stuff, they grow some of that stuff, and you guys can trade up. Like those kinds of relationships might be important. Anyways, Florida's orange groves are buffeted by hurricane and disease. And one farmer saying he lost 95 to 97% of his crop after Hurricane Ian last fall. Florida is the world's second largest producer of orange juice after Brazil. They've been suffering from a citrus disease called Huanglongbing for the last 17 years, a bacteria spread by an insect, the Asian psyllid, makes the trees produce green, bitter fruit that is unsuitable to sell. Orange production in Florida is down 60.7%. Very bad. That's very bad indeed. And the banana, there's a banana blight that is taking out all the bananas of the world. They're trying to create new banana strains of banana that are resilient. Is it a fungus that's taking out these bananas? I'm not sure. So yeah, hurricanes, man, they always happen. Those are normal. But when they knock out a lot of your food supply, and maybe it happens every year, right? Anyways, what's happening? The world is getting hip to the U.S. hegemon, the U.S. empire, because they're doing stuff. They're doing the crazy all over the world. It seems like they're going nuts, trying to keep everybody in line. And there are a lot more national leaders, world leaders out there. Oh yeah, don't forget about the tornadoes too. Lightning rod, yeah, of course. There's no climate change. What climate change? There's no climate change. Watch out. Watch out for that tornado. Watch out for that flood. Watch out for that hurricane. Watch out for, oh my God. This guy was found guilty for posting a meme about, text to vote for Hillary, text blah, blah, blah. And you might say maybe you shouldn't do stuff like that, but if you're stupid enough to think that that's how you can vote, maybe, whatever. But they actually found this guy Douglas Mackey. This is funny. Guilty for a meme. That's wild. But somebody is replaying this, right? Somebody saying, "Hey, Trump supporters, skip the lines in an election and text your vote." So somebody else was doing this the other way, and nobody got. We're living in upside down. Well, that side can't do it. Our side can totally do it, and it's funny. Ha! It's a joke. Don't you know a joke when you see a joke? Oh, this This person was doing election interference with a meme. With a meme. You know. Anyway, so that's happening. There's another great speech by AMLO. But I'll just first I wanted to play a speech by Zambian opposition leader Fred Membe, addressing Kamala Harris and the evil U.S. empire that has assassinated progressive African leaders and plundered resources. Kamala Harris is on a tour of Africa. Trying to tell them how we're doing the best to give them democracy and whatnot, right? And, you know, we're their buddies, we're their friends, we're just, you know, we want to help you. Here to help you. 1,000 points a line. Let's watch this, though.
A country that has toppled so many governments in Africa, that has led so many coups in Africa and other parts of the world. A country that has killed so many of our leaders in Africa and other parts of the world. The killers of Patrice Lumumba, those who toppled Kwame Nkrumah, those who killed Nasser, those who killed Muammar Gaddafi, today are coming to teach us about democracy. A country that has been built on a brutal force, on enslavement of other human beings, on the humiliation of Africans, the exploitation of Africans, the plunder of Africa, today is coming to teach us about democracy. If you have no respect for the dignity of others, if you have no respect for the sovereignty of other countries, you cannot claim to be a champion of democracy.
Yeah, you know, and this is a now a common occurrence with leaders from all over the world calling out America's hypocrisy and what they're trying to do. Here's AMLO again. And he's speaking Spanish, and I'll try to just kind of narrate along for the people on call-in. Mexico calls out U.S. oligarchy at Biden's summit for democracy. Many of the crimes against humanity have been committed in the name of God or in the name of democracy. It is important because of that to return to the original and true meaning of the concept of democracy. Sorry if this is loud. In our time, there is still a mixture of oligarchy and democracy. Or a simulated and mediated democracy. That is to say, in some countries, the oligarchy reigns with the facade of democracy. Whoa. What is talking about? For example, how can we talk about democracy if the elites dominate and not the majorities? How can we talk about democracy if there's no separation of economic power and political power? Why is this man making so much sense? How can we talk about democracy if in recent times there's been a concentration of wealth in a few hands? that is the most offensive in the history of the world. The fortune of a minority has increased without limits, without any moral concern, while there are a billion human beings who live on less than $1 a day. We maintain that we must search for greater equality, to have more democracy. May democracy be authentic and true. Okay. Yeah, so he's addressing Biden's Summit for Democracy. This is a thing that Biden has put together. So this is how people are accepting the leaders of this country around the world. This is, they're saying, "Hey guys, we're not really buying what you're selling anymore." Before I sign off, did you all hear there was a collapse of a roof in Illinois at an Apollo theater after a powerful storm hit in Belvedere, Illinois? This is what happens. Anyways, it's hard to see anything that's going on in there, but a roof collapsed after a bad storm. So, you could say, well, this is what happens when storms are bad. Things get munched, like citrus crops or roofs of theaters. Or or you could see it as, well, if we keep on having all these extreme weather events, might it impact our infrastructure in a way that starts to get, very alarming. Starts to maybe even impinge on the normalcy that we all enjoy. Or that you enjoy, right? Like in your own home, right? Oh, Christ. DB Cooper on Rockfin says another train derailment, 25 cars this morning. Chemicals spilled into the water. What is going on? Sanders County, Montana. Thanks for the heads up, DB. I appreciate it. Before I get out of here, guys, I will be back. I'm just doing a short one today. I'll be back tomorrow at the regular time, right? So, anyways, before I go, buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews. You all know the deal. Venmo, Cash App links in the description box. Let me look at this. See if I can find this. And what does it say about the state of things when just trains are derailing and barges are capsizing and chemicals are spilling into waterways, literally at every turn? I mean, is our infrastructure just crumbling before our eyes because we're too busy, spending $880 billion military budget every year on worldwide escapades of imperialism? We're busy, spending all that capital instead of building up or at least making sure that things can run properly. I'm not even I'm not necessarily a fan of infrastructure, on one level, but still, it might be good if you're still going to use the things. It might be good to make sure that they don't fall apart while you're using them and destroy the environment and destroy people in the process. Train derails 25 cars in Montana. This is from today. First responders say there is no danger to the public. Okay. It's spilling unconfirmed contents. 25 cars derailed, spilling their contents onto the ground and into a nearby body of water. First responders say there is no threat to the public because that's what they're supposed to say. There is yet to be a confirmation about what the affected containers were carrying. The company that owns the train has yet to be identified. Nobody knows. Nobody really knows what's going on here. Nobody knows who owns the train. We don't know what was in it. They definitely look like they're in the water. Yeah. So there's that. And hopefully there isn't something toxic and destructive in there. We don't know. Montana crash comes less than a week after a 70-car train hauling hazardous materials derailed in North Dakota. Excuse me. I didn't I didn't even hear about this one in North. What is going on? What is going on in this place? Oh, the public has widespread fears of pollution. Well, yeah, yeah. Jay Gibbons says major road closed down when 245 foot culverts collapsed this week in my city, or inch. Wow. Embankments and bridges probably washing out due to the precipitation from the atmospheric river, right? Nadia says full civilizational collapse is in progress right now. Global class war is happening now. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, creative experiments. Nobody's in control, apparently. Nobody fears, nobody has a fear of, somebody in charge, right? Nobody's minding the store. Nobody's, overseeing what's going the operation, saying maybe, it's wild. This is just wild. All right, guys. I know it was a short show. I'm going to step on out of here, and I'll cover some other things tomorrow. I've got other things in the dock, but I will have to leave them for tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be back at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And so thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. And I will see you all tomorrow. Until next time, peace.